A warm welcome to Diski Talk with Luyolo. If you're tuning in for the very first time, I ask that you please do subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you've been a part of this journey, I hope you thoroughly enjoy this episode. So, on today's episode, I discuss all things DSTV Premiership action between Maritzburg United versus Orlando Pirates post-match analysis, which then ended 0-0. So, without wasting any time, let's get straight into it. The blue team then will represent Maritzburg United and the red team will represent Orlando Pirates. So, coming into this one then, Maritzburg United, obviously as the home side, were looking to pick up all 3 points or at least get a positive result. And when we look at how they started, they did start with a 4-4-2, which then later on transitioned to a 3-4-3 when they made the change at the halftime when they brought Klaassen in and took Ismail off. But the personnel that did start then, you had Engelhardt in goal, left back was Nazir Ali, and then you had Alfred Ndengane. You had Ismail, and then you had Ryan Ray. So, with regards then to Engelhardt, I think he played really well. I think he was one of the candidates for man of the match, in my own opinion. I think he made some very, very good saves for Maritzburg United, and he kept them in the game and ensured that they got that clean sheet. And in the second half, I must say that this Maritzburg defense became a lot better, you know, and they were able then to nullify Orlando Pirates, especially in the final third, and they were able to stop some of those crosses which were being put into the box by Orlando Pirates, and Orlando Pirates just couldn't find joy within the final third within the second half. But in the first half, I think they were a bit shaky and they struggled at certain periods of the game, especially when Mntambo was creating those chances and whipping those balls in. But I think the defense recovered very, very well. And then moving on then into the midfield, they started with Graham, Kewuti, and then they had Hlongwane, who started off the left-hand side. They had Teron, and then they had Hlongwane and Sukuna, who started up front. So Teron did get the red card, and Maritzburg then were down to 10 men. Having then to obviously do battle against this Orlando Pirates side was always going to be difficult with one man short. But surprisingly enough, they were able to hold the fort and they didn't concede. And when I look at Maritzburg United, I think, yeah, they didn't really play well. You know, they didn't create too many clear-cut chances, and a lot of their influential players were very quiet on the day. So not a good performance from a Maritzburg United perspective, but they'll be happy with the point at the end of the day. And also considering the fact that they kept a clean sheet, they get a point and they keep it moving, you know. So it is a positive result from that perspective, but they just didn't create any clear-cut chances on the day, and they didn't have enough final third penetration, you know, and even some of the guys that they brought off the bench, they couldn't really have an impact within the second half. Moving on then right along to Orlando Pirates. Coming into this one, I think that they were looking to pick up 3 points, and I think this was a very good game for them to actually stamp their authority and pick up those 3 points. So, with regards to Orlando Pirates then, they did start with a 3-4-2-1 system, and in goals they had Pontjane, and the back three was Olisanda as a right-sided centre-half, Happy Jele playing in the middle of the three, and then you had Paseka Marco. So, very impressed then with Olisanda. I thought he had a very solid performance there at the back. Also, another player who I think was a candidate for man of the match. I think he played really, really well. And going forward then, I think that he could really grow in this Orlando Pirates side within the heart of defense. And what I really liked about him is how composed he is on the ball, and how he's then always able to progress the ball then from build-up phase into consolidation phase. Very, very comfortable on the ball. Moving in then into midfield, you had Munare and you had Makaringe. And then as the right wing back, you had Bandi Leshandu. Left wing back, you had Bongani Sam. So very impressed then with Monare's performance. I thought he did really well in the heart of midfield, and he battled really well. And he was also within the wars. You know, he got kicked quite a bit, but very solid then within the heart of midfield. At times, he was progressing the ball really well, and he'd also spray those passes really well whenever he did look to play those diagonal balls into the wide channels, being vertical zone 5 and 1 respectively. And he was always then able to find those wide men into those channels. And then you had Mntambo, and then you had Zukamanja just behind Mabasa. So Mntambo, I think, had a very, very good performance, especially in the first half, you know, as he was the chief creator, created so many opportunities for this Orlando Pirates side. And I just think that Orlando Pirates will be the more disappointed of the two teams, considering how many clear-cut chances they created, you know. And I think with the performance like this, I think going forward, Mntambo is a player who Pirates should be looking to integrate within the starting 11. I think he had a very, very good performance, especially when he played as a playmaker, and he played further up the pitch, as opposed to him playing in deeper pockets of spaces. We saw him occupying the half space. We saw him at times drifting out into vertical zone 5, the right wide channel, where he was able to deliver those balls, which were beautiful balls. We saw him pop up in zone 14, have a shot at goal himself, you know, which could have been a goal, but Engelhardt came up with the goods. So Mntambo was all over for this Orlando Pirates side within the first half from a creative perspective, and he did really, really well. Second half, I just think the intensity dropped from Orlando Pirates. They were not able to penetrate this Maritzburg United side. They were very resolute, and they were able then to nullify the pockets of spaces, and they were also able then to manage the spaces and manage those balls which were whipped in by Orlando Pirates. And yeah, I just think Orlando Pirates struggled. Hotto came off the bench. Bopela came off the bench as well. Pepper came off the bench as well, but none of them were able then to impact the game and bring about any positive change. So having a look at this game then, I just think that yeah, it was a bit of a disappointing one. It started off really well at a high intensity where Orlando Pirates looked to have the bulk of possession. They were the more dominant side. They were creating the chances, but they just couldn't finish, you know. So final third penetration from Orlando Pirates' perspective was good, but when it comes to finishing within the final third, that was very poor. And second half, the intensity of the game dropped off. And yeah, overall then it just turned out to be, yeah, a very slow pedestrian game which lacked quality, you know, from both teams. And both teams really struggled to be decisive at the end of the day in the right areas of the pitch, you know. So at the end of the day, I think, you know, it's yeah, it's one of those games where as a neutral, yeah, you're a bit disappointed. Orlando Pirates will be the most disappointed, but the team then who will walk away feeling like it's a point gained will be Maritzburg United. So it is then DSTV Premiership action, which was played at the Harry Gwala Stadium between Maritzburg versus Orlando Pirates, which ended in a stalemate, which then sees them go a point apiece. And thank you very much for tuning in to yet another special episode of Diski Talk with Luyolo. It is DSTV Premiership action, Maritzburg United 0, Orlando Pirates 0. Thank you for tuning in. Signing out.